Free shipping for activewear brands sounds simple and attractive. It's an easy way to get customers, and it's a way to remove the friction from that purchasing process. Or is it? Free shipping is often a trap that can actually trap you as the brand owner and create very difficult conditions to actually grow a brand. Let's use specific numbers as an example. Let's just say a customer buys a $72 pair of leggings from you. It costs you $18 to make, and let's just say your shipping costs you $9. You look at your margin and ultimately you think to yourself, okay, it's 18 plus 9 and that's my actual cost. But there are quite a few other costs that you're neglecting that actually play into your margin, into both your gross and your net profit margin, that really determine whether that free shipping actually made a profitable sale for you or if it actually put you further in debt to your customer and to the brand. This is a trap that a lot of first-time entrepreneurs fall into when they don't properly understand what goes into driving their profit margins. They look at offering free shipping as an easy way to remove friction, and it is, but the challenge is, if your numbers aren't correct, it can really put you in a difficult spot. Who am I? Well, my name is Shadi. I'm the co-founder and creative director of FittDesign. And over the last 10 years, I've worked with literally thousands of activewear brands, and we have both created, produced, designed, and manufactured apparel for some of the largest activewear brands. And we've learned that when it comes to figuring out your margins, that plays a core role in figuring out whether or not you can offer free shipping. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at what are the thresholds that you should be considering when looking at should I offer free shipping or not, and what are some other ways to offer incentivized shipping or subsidized shipping to your customer to remove some of that friction without putting yourself in a difficult spot. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. So the first element that you need to know is you need to be able to calculate the profit on your full order. Going back to the numbers that we shared, let's just say someone buys a $72 pair of leggings from you and it costs you $18. For you, you might look at that and say, I have a 75% margin. But that's further from the truth because your true margin, your gross and your net margin have to account for different things. Your net margin is the key thing that you should be looking at when considering whether or not to be able to offer actual free shipping, because that's the last cost that you incur getting the product to the customer. You need to be looking at the landed product cost. That means not just the FOB cost, but what it's going to cost you to ship it, to import it, and to put it into your warehouse. You need to look at the packaging cost. You need to look at the payment processing cost. You need to look at the pick and pack cost. You need to look at the outbound shipping cost. You need to also have a expected rate of return. So that means that on average, you need to account for around 3 to 4% of all of your order volumes being returned, and you having to incur the cost of those returns and those replacements, if not refunds as well. You need to look at your customer acquisition cost. All of those costs go into creating your net margin. Only when you determine your net margin can you then see if offering free shipping, which is literally the cherry on top, is going to be worth it. You have to understand that for the majority of large box, big box retail stores, they are running margins that can be as low as 9 to 11% per year when it comes to their profit margins. So for you, you need to be able to run a much more lean and efficient ship, especially at a smaller scale. So if you're running 9 to 11% profit margins in your net margins and you're still offering free shipping, that's going to literally put you over the edge, if not put it so that you're cash flow negative, that you're actually losing money on every sale. That's not a situation that you want to find yourself in, where some of your earliest sales should be your most efficient sales because you don't have that bloat that some of the larger companies have in these large teams, administrative overhead, all the costs that they have to incur. So number two, this comes down to what is the margin that you can afford to have in order to offer and to be able to carry the cost of free shipping. And there's no single correct margin for a specific brand because, as we mentioned, some of the larger brands typically run lower margins. But of course, from a total revenue perspective and a total profit perspective, it's a much larger pie, so it makes sense. So for you, you need to look at a working target. And for many direct-to-consumer brands, which is where you're going to be at for gross profit, you want to be aiming to between 65 and 75% gross profit margin. And that's not considering net profit margin, which of course is going to be lower. Normally, before you're marketing, a normal full price order should ideally leave around 35 to 45% of your profit. And then you need to look at your customer acquisition cost. With your customer acquisition cost, it's typically something that you need to look at the lifetime value of the customer. And if you're an early brand, it's going to cost you the most amount of money to get that customer to buy the first time. That's also why it's important to develop a well-rounded collection that's able to offer customers a variety of products to get them coming back time and time again. But in general, for a startup brand, you need to be looking at around 15 to 25% net profit at the end to be able to comfortably offer your customer free shipping. Because that doesn't even begin to account for return orders, and a return order can actually involve the cost of the first shipment that you have to incur. It can actually incur the return postage, warehouse handling, inspection, repacking, and actually the time and effort that goes into it. So you can quickly see how anything below 15 to 25% net profit can actually really leave you in a difficult position with your customer. Number 3 as well is that you might see a lot of brands offer free shipping over $50 or $100 worth of spend in their basket. But again, for you to determine what is going to be the right shipping rate or the threshold for you, it's going to come down to your numbers. Because a brand that has a much higher average order value because of a much more well-rounded collection and more products can afford to maybe offer free shipping a little bit earlier in the process or in the amount spent than a brand that maybe is selling 1 or 2 products at a lower ticket value. So what you need to look at is not just copying other brands' thresholds, but looking at what your current average order value is. Let's just say it's $70 and it costs you $9 to do the average shipment for your customer. And let's just say that you're going to calculate the additional merchandise dollar or the additional merchandise dollar value that remains once a customer has purchased that first product and what happens after they purchase over your average order value. Let's just say it costs you $9 and your contribution of those additional products towards your actual profit margin is 60%. Take that $9, that's your cost of shipping, divide that by 60%, and on average that's around $15, right? What you need to do is you need to look at your average order value, add in that $15, that makes it around 85 USD, and that is the threshold that is comfortable for you based on your average order value and the amount of additional profit that you typically earn from additional products that are added beyond that threshold of average order value to determine what is a comfortable place to start, all things considered, for your shipping or your free shipping threshold. Number 4 is that you can also use a hybrid model for your free shipping offer. You don't just need to go all in and it's basically all or nothing. Either you offer no free shipping or you offer full free shipping. You can have a structure where below a certain amount spent, they pay a flat rate, and between a specific amount and another specific amount spent, they pay another flat rate. And then perhaps once they go over the threshold that we determined in the previous section, then that's where the free shipping kicks in. So perhaps under $60, they pay the standard shipping rate of $7.99. Perhaps between $60 and $99, they pay a discounted rate of $4.99. And then perhaps anything over $100, they pay, they get free non-express shipping, or they get free regular shipping, and then if they have to pay for express shipping, it's discounted. If you have an international order, you may not offer free shipping at all because it's very variable, and depending on the region of the world that product is being shipped into, your actual shipping costs could skyrocket if you don't already have a good structure in place with the shipping agent that you're using. So in this case, what you could offer is a flat rate off. Perhaps for international customers, they get $15 off. And great, if their shipping cost, because it's to a location that you often ship to, matches that amount, it's free shipping. And if it's not, then they pay subsidized rate. Number 5, and this is one of the most underrated ways to use shipping, is don't just offer free shipping over a specific threshold of order value. Offer free shipping in very unique circumstances to get customers to actually purchase more products, to purchase specific products, and to mix and match products. So you might offer free shipping when customers buy a specific matching set that you have a good profit margin on, or has great reviews. That's typically shown you that customers that buy these sets typically then come by and buy these other sets. 2, it could be free shipping on 2-item orders. If you want to get the average order value over a specific amount, then obviously incentivizing people to buy multiple products or multiple of a specific type of product is key. If you have specific inventory that you're trying to move, let's just say you have shirts that you don't want to put on sale, but at the same time, you do want to move. You may offer free shipping if they purchase 2 or more of that specific quantity of shirt. 3, you may offer shipping or free shipping on selected bundles. So if you create a running capsule or a high rocks capsule or a bodybuilding capsule of 2 or more items that you put in there, perhaps it's a shorts, a tank top, and a sock. Not only are you increasing the average order value, you're also moving stock, getting more product in your customers' hands. And by using the free shipping, you're actually incentivizing customers to engage with your brand in a much more deep way and to experience your brand holistically through the product. You can also offer free shipping for repeat customers that have been able to achieve specific statuses in your business over a prolonged period of time. Let's just say you have a loyalty program. One way to encourage customers to come back time and time again is to gamify the loyalty program, to give them something to look forward to. If you don't get tangible perks as you move through the ranks in a brand's loyalty program, why are you going to come back? Free shipping is one of those things that can definitely really not cost you too much, but it can give the customer, especially if you're not offering it to the average customer, you really give the customer a feel of what it's like to be a VIP customer with you. Number 6, and ultimately this is last but not least, is that once you've set forward your free shipping strategy, you need to review at the end, specifically every quarter, if this strategy is actually working. And don't judge the offer of free shipping simply by conversion rate. For sure, offering free shipping is going to increase your conversions. It's just standard practice. But is it going to increase your conversions profitably? So this is where reviewing your average order value comes into play. This is where looking at the units that are being shipped out per order, or the average amount of units, is going to be key. What is the contribution per order in terms of your profit margin? What is the domestic and international costs? Are they rising quarter upon quarter? If your free shipping is predominantly being used in international settings and it's actually costing you an arm and a leg to do that, then maybe you change the approach. You go for that approach where it's subsidized rather than fully free. You need to look at the number of customers that are reaching that threshold. Not every customer that purchases from you should be getting that threshold. Sure, there should be a healthy balance of people that are essentially getting that VIP exclusive or special treatment, and the customers that are just experiencing the brand in a regular way. Sure, we take free shipping as a given the rise of Amazon Prime, but even with large-scale conglomerates like Amazon, that free shipping is being scaled back as there are rising costs. So what this episode is here to do is to help you still offer these incentives, but in a way that is fair to you and fair to your customer. The last thing that you want to do is be subsidizing your product and your customer because you're trying to offer free shipping. The only one that wins in this case is the shipping agent. So ultimately it comes down to the profit margins. Let's just imagine your store previously had 100 orders that left you with $25 each on average, a profit. Well, that specific total contribution is $2,500 in contributions. But let's just say now you added free shipping and you got 130 orders, but you got $17 in total profit margin contribution. Well, that's $2,210, right? That's $2,210 USD versus 2,500. Your orders, the order volume has increased, but it's actually causing you to make less profit for more work. So you can simply see how the numbers, when they don't make sense, lead the business to not make sense. So realistically, your shipping strategy should always start before your products actually reach your hands and they get put on the website. Because going for a 400 GSM or 450 GSM hoodie, it's going to cost you way more to ship out than a 380 GSM. And it may make more sense given the season, the region, the customer that you're serving to go for a 380 GSM, but because the factory might have offered you that fabric, you might have gone for it without understanding the implications. Another thing is perhaps you add in very heavyweight trims and details that cause bulk, or your packaging, you're using a box packaging for some reason because you saw brand XYZ do it, and you're essentially shipping out air. You're making it more difficult for the customer to engage with your brand, and if you end up bearing that cost, you are making it more difficult for you to justify selling that customer. Ultimately, at FittDesign, we sit down with you guys beforehand to help you take educated decisions on this matter to create the best possible products that are going to give your customers the best possible experience, to get it at the best possible price, and ultimately to think with the customer in mind, to make sure that the product doesn't arrive to your customers in a state where it fits wrong, the fabric is incorrect, it's too heavy, it's too bulky, it costs them an arm and a leg to receive, and it costs you an arm and a leg to make. So if you're interested to learn more about how you can work with us one-on-one to get these shipping ready products that you can be proud to sell, you can check the link in the description to apply to work with us one-on-one. And guys, I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of FittDesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.